Today is yoga for stress. So our gentle stay on the mat class, we're looking for ways to connect with mind-body connection with muscles and find stress, locate places where we commonly hold stress, and then find ways to tune in, tune it off, release the stress. So, gentle class. Using techniques to let go of stress. Not increasing stress, not increasing strength, looking for ways to release stress in the body. This week's theme is consciously directing our energy. So we're going to start seated today. Find a seat, comfortable, and if you need to use a chair, go ahead and use a chair. There's no prizes for sitting in easy seat. Find a seat that is comfortable. Find a seat that you can find your hips on the ground or on a chair comfortably. And just start to notice what is present in your spine. So notice what is present. Move around, kind of feel what's present. And then bringing your hands into your lap wherever they're comfortable. Nice and soft in your hands, nice and soft in your shoulders, soft in the face. And if it's comfortable, close the eyes and start to ground. So when we talk about grounding, we're talking about consciously bringing our energy and our focus into the present moment. So grounding ourselves out of yesterday, out of tomorrow, grounding ourselves right here in this present moment. So we're going to consciously bring all of our focus into present moment. And the ways that we can help ourselves arrive in present moment is really check in on the physical body. Start to feel the physical body, really have sensation in the body. So we move our body throughout the day and we often have no conscious connection to it. You reach for something, you're grabbing something, you're doing something all day. You don't consciously think, I am going to grab that thing and I am going to move my fingers in this way. We have a lot of unconscious movement and connection to the physical body. So one of the ways to help us ground and arrive in present moment is to consciously bring our awareness into our physical body. What is present in our physical body? And another thing to help bring us into present moment is to start to think about our breath. Now, our breath isn't always easy. So many people have a lot of stress, a lot of tension around their breath. So if this is not the easiest way for you to arrive in present moment, practice it softly. So starting to land in your breath, and rather than thinking about, I'm going to really draw my breath nice and slow in and really slow it on the way out and bring lots of muscular force, maybe just bringing your stomach, your hands to your stomach and feeling your stomach. So feel the warmth of your hands on your stomach. And begin to just notice what it feels like to have your breath moving your body. As you breathe, without conscious effort, just watching your breath, notice what it feels like to have your breath move your body. And then think about all the places that you can find sensation on your breath. Can you locate sensation as your breath comes in through the nose? Can you locate left and right sides? Maybe you can feel one side a little easier than the other. Can you locate the point where your breath meets? So it comes in the left side and the right side of the nose, and then there's a point where the breath meets. See if you can find sensation here. Feel the breath joining and moving. Can you begin to feel your breath moving down your throat? And then maybe you can find sensation as your breath expands through your chest and down into your rib cage. And then as your stomach moves and expands with your breath. And you have the option to stay with just gently watching your breath, trying to find as many places that you can feel the breath moving. And whenever the mind pulls you back away, just gently starting again, starting from the tip of the nose and working your way through following your breath. Or you can try another technique, which is simply to say something repetitive that reminds you to stay focused in the present moment. And you can help yourself by combining this thought to a movement. So we can take our first finger and our thumb together and say I, then the next finger to the thumb, am, the next finger here, and then the next finger now. I am here now. So we're giving a physical reminder, something for our mind to do. And then if you slow it down, you can start to make your sentence match your breath. And then soften your hands open. Notice how you feel. And soften the eyes open if you have them closed. And we're going to start to work through the spine, through the neck, through the shoulders. Just looking for ways to connect with the muscles that support our spine and shoulders and neck. And we'll release any tension that's held there. So take a wiggle first. Just take some movement through the spine, noticing what is present. Maybe a little soft movement through the neck, just feeling soft, slow. Notice what is present. And then we're going to roll the shoulders one at a time, nice and slow. Again, just trying to feel what is present, being consciously fully in the shoulder. So as you move a body part, really try to land all of your awareness in the body part and feel as many things as you possibly can. Think about how many times you've moved your shoulder already today without thinking about it. And now we're going to think about it as we move, trying to find that mind-body connection. So the difference between a yoga class and a fitness class is the mind-body connection. We're trying to find sensation. Take one up to the ear and down, and then the other. Switch back and forth, up to the ear and down. Slow. Having an experience, feeling your shoulders. And then we're going to take one arm at a time in a big, slow circle. First, because we're thinking about consciously directing our energy, we're just going to roll our arm and notice. Roll our other arm and notice. Just flop it around. Notice. Notice how that feels. And then consciously look at your right hand. Extend your right hand. Feel the muscles of the arm. Feel the muscles of the shoulder. Now consciously open up your hand. Look at your hand. Open up the shoulder. Roll the arm. Move. Feel all the ways the shoulder can move back. Full circle with the arm. And notice how different that feels. Take your left hand out, look at it, feel it, engage the muscles of the arm. Not super strong. We're looking, 1 is no effort, 10 is too much. We're looking for that number 5. We're connected, we're engaged, but we're not tense. Now we're going to lift it up and look at it. Follow it around in a big circle, all the ways the shoulder can move in this circular pattern. And then back. Notice how that felt. Now we're going to take it backwards. So take your right arm down and then follow it as you move it in the opposite direction. Really feeling all the ways your shoulder can move in this direction. And the same for the other side. Follow it around. And drop it. Notice how your shoulders feel. We're going to take both hands out, palms forward, arms long. Press like you're pushing your fingers away from you. So you're trying to extend the shoulders. So now things you can notice. Start to notice the muscles in the front of the shoulders. Press the fingertips away. See if you can find the muscles between the shoulder blades and the back. See if you can open the shoulder blades a little bit wider. And watch for anything that's going on in the lower back. So sometimes we have compensation patterns. Look for that. Try to keep the lower back soft. We're just working upper body. Watch for compensation patterns in the neck. Try to soften the neck and the face. Extend. And then we're going to bring the right hand, flip the palm, and tuck it behind our back. So bending the elbow, tuck the hand behind the back. Bring the left hand slowly behind the head, not touching the head. So behind the head. Once you get here, you're pushing the hands away from your body. They're not touching. You're trying to stay engaged and push the hands away. So there's a gap between my hand and the back and the hand and my head. We're pushing away, opening. So now I need to fire up these muscles of my chest, push the hands away. And then switch as slow as you can. You're going to take the hands out, back to even with the shoulders. They flip and they turn. Slow as you can. Push, hold, open up, push the elbow of the right arm back, push the elbow of the left arm back, nice and engaged. Watch for compensation, not squeezing into the feet or the knees or the low back. We're just working the shoulders. And then we're going to move nice and slow, switching. Open up, flip the palms and switch. Slow. Open up. Imagine you're really stretching, lengthening, opening up, and then flip. Open up, lengthen, find all the muscles of your shoulders, flip. Get long, 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 and flip. And then bring it out, open, lower the hands, and let the shoulders pick up and drop suddenly. So wiggle the shoulders, loosen, like gravity, drop the shoulders. Get some wiggles through the shoulders. And then we're going to work through a little bit of spinal work. So, watching your hips, trying to get nice and even in the hips. See if you can find your sits bones and have them even on the ground. We're going to work through upper spine first. So, not holding onto your legs super tight, but just keeping a little balance. We're going to work through moving the chest in little tiny spirals. So, little tiny conscious spirals move the chest. So watch for grabbing with your hands and competing and yanking yourself around. We're just trying to move conscious, small, tiny circles. Reverse your circle. Watch for tension in the neck. Watch for tension in the low back. Bring your chest back to neutral, and we're going to pull our chest forward, back to neutral, back. So 3 positions: neutral, forward, neutral, back. Small movement. So watch for a lot of rocking in the hips. We're just looking to connect with all the muscles that make our spine, upper spine, move. Conscious breath, nice and slow. Think, feel, have an experience. Bring your chest back to neutral, and we're going to do neutral, left, neutral, right. So neutral, left, neutral, right. And again, watch for too much movement in the low back. We're trying to connect to upper spine. Little tiny movements. You can think about pushing underneath the armpit, pushing the rib cage right in under the armpit. Bring it back to neutral, and then we're going to move side to side. So inhale, up, arms overhead. Exhale, over to a side. Inhale, back center. Exhale, over to the other side. So when you come side to side, rather than thinking about folding over as far as you possibly can, think about grounding the hips and lengthening from the hip to the armpit. So getting longer, up, open. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, push open, stretch. Find more space for the rib cage. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, lengthen. Conscious movement. Move intentionally. Consciously direct the energy from the hip up through the rib cage. Back to neutral. Bring your hands to prayer, heart space. Press gently into your hands. You have this connection here. Now we're going to twist. So inhale, neutral. Exhale, turn your prayer, following your chest, to the right. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, turn to the left. So think about turning from the rib cage up and not pushing into the hips or the feet to get a little more. We're just consciously moving from the center core muscles. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. We're trying to find the muscles and connection to the muscles that are really close to the spine. Move with your breath, conscious breath. Bring it back to neutral, and we're going to do a little bit of reach and twist. So, hands out in front of the shoulders. We're going to drop the right hand. The left hand is going to come across the body, and then we're going to push. So across and push. Push across. So hips stay where they are. And if you like, you can take your right hand in underneath between the rib cage and the hip. Look for the muscle here. This is the muscle that you're trying to connect with. This twisting muscle right here. Dig around. Try to remind yourself that this is the muscle you're trying to use. You can use other muscles to make this movement happen, but you're trying to make it come from the stomach. Maybe reach down a little more. Across and down. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you twist. Bring it back to neutral. Release the left hand, right hand out even with the shoulder, across the body. You can take the left hand across. Look for that connection of the muscle you're trying to use. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, twist and turn. Watch for pushing into the feet or the hips to get a little further. Bring it back to neutral and have a wiggle of the spine. See what feels different. We're going to work just a little bit with the muscles of the neck. So just moving with our breath and consciously moving our neck first. Inhale, chin neutral. Exhale, turn to a shoulder. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, turn. Really starting to find as many muscles as you can possibly feel in your neck. And if you have trouble finding that sensation, staying with sensation in your body, you can use your fingertips to help remind you where you want to be. So just feeling, not pushing, but feeling your neck, having your fingertips here on your neck, saying to yourself, these are the muscles I'm looking to connect with. Watching for anything in the low back, in the legs, in the hips. And then bring it back to neutral. And we're going to be inhale, neutral, exhale, ear towards shoulder. So now you're trying to feel side of the neck. Inhale, neutral, exhale, ear to the other shoulder. So moving with your breath, consciously moving your neck nice, slow and controlled. Very mindful when we move our neck. Inhale, neutral, exhale, move ear to shoulder. And then come on back to neutral. And we're going to take our right ear over to our shoulder. And we're going to hold it here. Feel the left side of our neck. So really try to connect in with these muscles. Once we get it here, there are a couple of things you can try to see if you can lengthen and connect with the lengthening on the left side a little more. You can take left fingertips down to the ground and consciously think about pushing your fingers down into the ground and then pulling the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. So that opposing directions of lengthening. You can also tuck the left hand behind the hip, press the hand into the hip, and activate some of the muscles across the front of the shoulder here. You can also take the right hand underneath the collarbone on the left side and just connect. So just feeling this space. And then you can gently and softly and slowly move the chin, feeling the muscles. So connecting to your own muscles, going slow, feeling what is present. Breathe, conscious breath. And then bring your head back to neutral, release, and over to the other side. So, left ear towards left shoulder. Begin here. Connect with the muscles on the right side of the neck. Maybe consciously sending your energy down our fingertips into the ground and pulling the crown of our head up to the ceiling. Maybe tuck the right hand behind the hip. Press the hand into the hip. So the back of the hand presses into the hip. Still thinking about sending energy in the opposite direction through the crown of the head. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Maybe take the left hand underneath the right collarbone and connect. And then slowly move the chin around, feeling the muscles on the left side of the neck. Breathe, conscious breath. And then slowly come back to neutral and release. Take a wiggle and notice what is different. So take a second to really check in. Notice what you feel. Notice what feels different. And then make your way to a tabletop position. We're going to move and breathe in our tabletop, our familiar pattern of movement. Lots of reasons to do familiar patterns. So we inhale in tabletop and we exhale back towards a child's pose shape. Inhale forward, exhale back. Trying to have our own experience on the mat. And we come to these familiar patterns because it can be beneficial to help us notice what is different from day to day, notice what is present from day to day. And they also create little familiar pathways in our brain, help us these rituals and pathways in our brain can help us remember, oh, this is the time that I release stress. Our body knows this familiar place. It knows the mat. It knows this movement. And you find ways to let go of a little stress, moving gently, slowly, connecting consciously with being on your mat, in your body. And then sink your hips back towards child's pose. And you take the left hand onto the fingertips and wiggle the fingertips further forward. See if you can get a little more length on the left side. So grab the fingertips into the ground and then send the hips further backwards. Rest the head wherever it's comfortable to take the tension out of the neck. Breathe. Think about length across the left side of your rib cage. Maybe even imagining sending your breath a little stronger between each breath. See if you can press the breath through the ribs. Slowly bring the left hand back. Take a little reset through tabletop. Send the hips backwards. And then wiggle the fingers of the right hand longer, like you're creeping your fingers forward, walking them forward. And then slowly lengthen right side body. Take the tension out of the neck, so rest the head wherever is comfortable for your neck. Breathe, conscious breath. Imagine opening up, sending breath through in between each rib on the right side. And come on back to tabletop. Slow, conscious movement. Take your right leg out even with the hip. Start to feel the right leg. So things to watch for when we do this. Watch for buckling in the shoulders. Try to be a little bit engaged in the shoulders and chest. Maybe moving your hands so your wrists are more comfortable. Making your hands a little wider. Find the shape that you can stay strong and engaged through the chest and shoulders. Supported through the chest and shoulders. And hold this right leg up. Nice and strong. See if you can imagine consciously pressing through the heel of the right foot, holding the leg here. Now we're going to squeeze the right heel a little bit past the left leg, trying not to move any other part of our body. And then we're going to open it up to the right side. So inhale as we open it up to the right side. Exhale, squeeze it past, nice and slow. Inhale, open up. Exhale, squeeze it past. Trying not to move anything else. Consciously moving the right leg, feeling the leg, trying to find the muscles in the hip and the glute. Take the right toes past the left leg, lower the toes. Press through the heel, so lengthening again, and then option to wiggle the right hand out further, 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 reaching, stretching all the way along. Right side body, you can lower to the forearm of the left arm. So thinking about this lengthening being from the right fingertips to the right toes and not coming through into the low back. So watch for tweaking in the low back. Be mindful, check in, notice what is present, maybe adjust. Breathe, let go. Slowly make your way back to tabletop. Set up your tabletop base so your hands and wrists are comfortable. You can pull yourself up out of the ground, support your shoulders. Take your left leg out, even with the hip nice and strong. Press through the heel. Find as many muscles as you can find on your left leg. Breathe. And then take the left leg a little bit past the right without moving anything else, just the leg. Hold here. And then we're going to inhale, open up to the left. Exhale, squeeze past. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze past. Watching for movement coming in other parts of the body. We're just trying to move the leg. Consciously moving our body. Take the toes past the left, lower the toes, and then press through the heel. Maybe come down to the forearm of the right arm. Wiggle the fingertips of the left fingers out, stretching and lengthening across left side body. Resting the head wherever the neck is comfortable. Breathe, let go. Slowly bring yourself back to a tabletop and reset. We're going to make our way slowly down to crocodile pose. So lower down to your stomach, one hand on top of the other, and forehead down. Shimmy the hips and let go. Notice what comes up in this pose. So think about the weight of gravity pulling you down into the ground. Can you release some of the muscles of your neck, your shoulders, your back? Really consciously sending your energy and your awareness around your body, looking for places where you are holding tension. Perhaps you know places that you commonly hold tension. Maybe you know you hold tension in your shoulders, your low back, your glutes. Or maybe you just need to look around and see if there's anywhere that you are holding tension. Have you checked the soles of your feet? Have you checked around your knees and your ankles? Have you checked the muscles around your eyes? And part of the experience of yoga is to notice things that make us uncomfortable. So some of the poses are not designed for perfect comfort. They're designed for us to notice what comes up when perhaps we're a little uncomfortable. And then we're going to work just with some strengthening, a little tiny bit of strengthening of the back muscles. So you want to fire up the backs of the legs first. One of the easiest ways to do this is to imagine pressing the tops of your feet down into the ground. See if you can fire up your legs, the back of your legs, your glutes. And then see if you can start to imagine squeezing all of the muscles of your back. If you're not used to connecting to the muscles of your back, this can be challenging. Bring your hands for balance. And we're going to inhale as we lift our shoulders, exhale as we lower. Thinking about lifting our shoulders, not our head. So we're pulling from our back muscles, not our neck muscles. Lift and lengthen, exhale, lower. Trying to find even use of our muscles in our back. So we want to find our back, our mid back, our low back, our upper back, everything moving evenly. And maybe you start to lift the tops of your feet up as you inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. And then bring our back down to crocodile pose. Shimmy the hips, loosen and soften. What can you let go of? And then from here, we are just going to roll on over to our backs. So coming to our backs. Land on the ground with your hips on the ground, feet down, knees up. Find yourself on the ground. So start to see where your shoulders are at. Wiggle them around. Notice what is present in your shoulders. Notice what's present in your hips, your low back. Notice what's present in your neck. Really feeling where you're at. Take your right leg up so you can see the foot and take really slow ankle circles as if you're trying to find every muscle in your foot. So as slow as you can. Spread the toes, really feeling the circle of your foot can make. So reverse the circle. Watching for too much movement in the leg. We're just trying to move from below the ankle. Look at the foot so you stay present with it. And then press the ball of the foot away from you. Pull the toes back towards the shin. And we're going to pull the heel, we'll pull the ball of the foot out to the right and then over to the left. So out, over. Kind of like a U shape. So we're pulling outer edge of the foot out and up, and then inner edge of the foot out and up. So move like a U, trying to find the muscles of your foot. You can even hold on to the leg, hold on to the thigh, and really just focus on moving the foot. Should be feeling that supportive muscles of your outside leg and inside leg. So our stabilizer muscles. And then slowly wrap right leg over left and draw the knees in towards the chest. So pull the feet with your muscles of your legs towards your shoulders. You can rest your hands in on the shin. You're looking to find a connection to the glute space on the right side. And then breathe in as if you're sending all of your awareness and fresh breath and energy right to your glute space on the right side. Imagine sending softening, refreshing, releasing energy. Slowly unravel. And then take the left leg up. Look at the left leg. Look at the left foot. And then take really slow circles with the foot. Consciously moving your foot, trying to find the muscles in the foot. How many times do you move your feet in a day without thinking about the muscles? And how many muscles we have in the foot and how they move to help us move. Reverse or circle. And then press the ball of the foot away from you. Spread your toes. Pull the toes back towards the shins. You're really trying to find as many muscles as you can in the lower leg and the foot. Everything nice and strong and active. And we're going to pull the inner edge of the foot in and up, and then push away, and the outer edge of the foot in and up. And U-shape with the foot. Trying to find the stabilizer muscles on the outside of the lower leg and the inside of the lower leg. So these are our slipping on the ice muscles. These are the muscles that help us when we make the movements that are a little unusual. So walking straight forward, yeah, big strong muscles to help us. But the muscles when we get injured, the ways that we get injured are not typically the ways when we're moving in a straight line. It's these side to side muscles. So connect with them, find them, build some strength. And then slowly wrap left leg over right. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Imagine you're pulling the feet towards opposite shoulders, and you can rest your feet, hands on your shins. Thinking about left glute space on the left side. Breathe and release. Slowly unravel, and we'll take the feet long, legs long. Press the toes away from you. Start to see how many muscles you can find in your entire body. We're going to see if we can squeeze every single muscle in our body. So start at the toes, point the toes away from you, push like you're pushing the toes away from you. Squeeze the feet, the legs, squeeze the stomach. Take the arms up overhead. See if you can get as long as you possibly can. Maybe wiggle one heel at a time further away from you. Stretching, lengthening, getting long. Taking up as much space as you possibly can. Reach, stretch. Reach and stretch. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Squeeze the muscles of the face. See if you can find some more muscles to squeeze. Maybe you make fists. Squeeze, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly release everything you can release. We're going to do another exercise of taking up space. So wiggle your right foot open, posture mat. Wiggle your left foot open, posture mat. Open up like a giant starfish. Lengthen, and then squeeze as many muscles as you can find as possible. Maybe making fists. Squeeze from the toes, the legs, the torso. Squeeze the arms. Maybe you can find the muscles of the neck even. Maybe you can find the muscles in the face. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly release everything. Let everything land. Notice how it feels to take up space. Maybe today you would like to rest in taking up space. So just like this, taking up space and giving yourself permission to take up space. Sometimes as we move through life, we have trouble with self-esteem and self-worth. We try to make ourselves smaller. So maybe today, practicing being a little bigger and giving ourselves permission to be here right now. We're moving into our resting pose. So if that is not a pose that you are 100% able to release tension in your muscles, please make a decision about where you would like to be. Change it up. Start to release into the ground. Soften as much as possible. Soften the muscles of the feet, the muscles of the legs, muscles around the hips, muscles up each rib cage, side torsos, muscles around the shoulders, across the chest, down the arms. Soften the palms of the hands. Soften the muscles of the neck. Soften the muscles of the face. Imagine you can even soften your gums and let your tongue soften in your mouth. And then soften any grasping, any controlling of the breath. Soften, 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 release. And from the teachings of yoga, the Yoga Sutra, the Yama and the Niyama, we've been focusing on for the last couple of weeks. The teaching of Brahmacharya, consciously directing our energy. So we consciously direct our energy in a yoga practice on the mat so that we help learn what it is to consciously direct our energy. So in our lives, off the mat, consciously directing our energy means making conscious choices about how we behave and what we give our energy to. So, for example, if we are in a relationship with someone and we choose to pay our attention and our energy and give it to someone else outside of the relationship, it may feel rewarding. It may have many benefits to do this, but it may also do harm to the person we're in relationship with. So that's a somewhat obvious way to consciously direct our energy. One of the ways that we know that this is not working for us is perhaps when we see the harm we're doing to the person we're in the relationship with. We have a feeling inside us that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well. That's an easy way for us to know that we're perhaps choosing to direct our energy in a way that doesn't line up for our innermost self. Sometimes it's very obvious. Sometimes consciously directing our energy is hard. It requires knowing what we're doing. It requires knowing all the parts of ourselves. Sometimes we just get swept away in something and we have no idea that we're possibly doing harm to another until it's way too late. Or even to ourselves. Maybe we're harming ourselves by sending our energy in a direction that is harmful to ourselves, and we don't really know it until we've gotten to know our innermost self a little better, or until our innermost self is screaming at us to try and put the brakes on. So for example, when we overindulge in something, we're directing our energy towards something that's giving us perhaps momentary benefits, momentary sensations that we're enjoying. But our innermost self is sending us little hums, like maybe this isn't what we want to be doing. And the only way that we can know for ourselves, our own paths, everyone's different, everybody's choices are different, and everybody's innermost self hums at a different rate. Like, we don't need to follow the exact same rules to be conscious about how we are living. We need to get to know our innermost self and get to know when it hums in its happiest, most comfortable way. When it's humming in its comfortable way, that's when we know we're moving and directing our energy in the way that's most beneficial for us and for those in our life. So we practice on the mat. We practice thinking about our energy as we move our physical body. Practice being aware of what we are doing so that we can take that off the mat. So as you're resting into your resting pose, be consciously directing all of your awareness, your energy, your thoughts, all of your awareness inside. So inside, meaning we're going to peel off the layers of the thoughts. So we're going to go under the thoughts. The thoughts are there, they swirl. We're going to go under the feelings, the emotions. We're going to go under the ego. So the ego is there. It has a purpose. We need it. Protects us. It does all kinds of things for us. We don't get rid of it. We're just going in underneath it. So the ego is the part that says I do or I am. So we want to go under the layers of I am a mother, father, sister, brother, all those things. These attachments of the ego trying to define itself. We're going to go under the fear. And we look inside to the internal part of us. And there are many ways and techniques that we can connect within. The simplest way to begin is perhaps just getting quieter and quieter and looking for the sound of your own heartbeat and thinking about or connecting with, not thinking, not trying to cognitively think, but connecting to the fact that this is our own internal hum. This is kind of the magic of this being's life force, our heartbeat. It beats like a drum that's being, they call it the unstruck chord. A drum that beats constantly, but it's never struck. This is our magic, our life force right here, our heartbeat. And you can be so quiet within the physical body that you can connect to it. You can hear it within you. It's one way you can connect to this bliss center. Another way is thinking about peeling through the layers. So if you're a little bit more visual, you can think about the layers of the thoughts being up in the mind. And then you can think about walking past them. So walking down away from them, perhaps walking down your spine, walking away from the thoughts. So the thoughts are there. We're not getting rid of them. The thoughts are just thoughts. We're walking away from them. We're letting them be what they are. We're letting them fire. And we're walking our attention past the thoughts. We're going to walk the attention past the feelings and sensations in the body. We're going to walk them past the energy. We're going to walk them closer and closer and closer to what's internal. So a couple of ways you can connect to that bliss layer. You can think about how it feels when you see a sunset that's taken your breath away, or something in nature that you just, it's like a whole body awe-struck experience. That's your bliss layer, that connective layer. It connects to something greater than you, something outside of you. the part of you that giggles when a baby giggles, without thinking about it. It's an automatic response of your bliss layer connecting to something outside of you. You can also think about it as there's something beneath all the layers. So if you can see your thoughts in your head, what is it that sees the thoughts? If you can feel the emotions in the body, what is it that feels the emotions? So this is something else, the little bit extra, the thing that ties all of this experience together. So as you rest and release and settle into the ground, maybe your thoughts, maybe your environment, maybe there are distractions in your space, pull you out of your practice. Try to be patient and kind with yourself and restart. The process of meditation, the process of any of these connections within, is not to get it perfect and to remain there forever. It's the practice of noticing when our world and our environment and our mind pull us away, and just gently bringing our awareness back to wherever we're trying to focus. Constantly practicing refocusing kindly, compassionately, gently with yourself. And if you really get swept away, it can be helpful to check back in on the physical body. Sometimes when our mind draws us way off the mat and we've been off for a while, we bring in some physical tension back into the body. So it can be helpful to check into our common places of tension. Maybe thinking about softening the hands and the shoulders and the hips again. You have the time to spend in your resting pose. Please take as much time as you need, practicing resting, softening, and coming back as often as you need. Some days you'll rest for long periods of time without interruptions. Some days the interruptions will be constant. Practice being patient, starting over as many times as you need. If you need to finish up at 60 minutes, we are coming right up on that mark. So begin to bring yourself into physical body awareness with gentle movements of the fingers and the toes. And slowly curling up in a little ball, and whatever side is calling to you, just connecting with being in a fetal position. Connecting one more time to that special inside bliss layer. And the fetal position takes us back to a time in the womb. It reminds us of a time in the womb when all of our needs were met and we had not judged ourselves as negative or positive. We were simply a spark of life. And we come to this pose to remember that that spark of life exists within us, unchanged by our experiences, unchanged by the negative critic we carry around with ourselves. And taking a moment to connect into this space, think about visually, not exact cognitive memories. Think about releasing some of these barriers to softness. So maybe thinking about walls around your heart, your bliss layer, and releasing and softening and letting some of the weight of these walls drop to the mat. Thinking about what you're ready to let go of and letting it go, dropping the weight. It's not that we erase memories. It's not that we get rid of things that we've done or that have happened. It is that we release the emotion attached to what is present in ourselves. We release the gripping. So as you come on up to a seated position, see if you can imagine feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally a little bit lighter. Bring your hands to prayer heart space and connect with honoring your own inner wisdom and accepting yourself as whole and complete, precisely as you are. And then think about that concept of accepting yourself as whole and complete, precisely as you are. Accepting the mistakes you have yet to make, the mistakes you have already made. Accepting things compassionately. And then imagine sending that out to someone else. Maybe anyone else. It can be someone just sending it out in general. Imagine just sending from your heart space out to your community, or you could wrap someone in particular in your mind in that same compassionate feeling. Imagine if we could all, each and every day, consciously send out more compassion and kindness and acceptance. Accepting the journey that everyone is on, accepting that it may be very different than your own. Accepting that we are all on our own paths, learning on our own way. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. Thank you for joining us.